We're up to Eker, guys. I am going to be looking at Anu here, God of Kings. He is a defender. He's Wisdom Affinity. Let's take a look at Anu. Basic. Attack an enemy as a defender based on defense and attack. Place Vanish on the ally with the lowest current HP for 1 turn. Awakening 1. Also place Stalwart on the ally with the lowest current HP for 2 turns. His core. Place Defense up 2 on all allies for 2 turns and Protect 2 on all allies except this hero for 2 turns. So good start there. You've got your defense and you've got your protect. Awakening 5, allies under protect are immune from crits. And his ultimate, costing only 1,000 divinity, which climbs when he is hit by an enemy, places Phoenix on all allies for 2 turns. Then all allies except this hero will attack a target enemy. It's an ally attack without Anu going in. If an ally is under Protect 2, they will heal for 30% of the damage inflicted. They should be under Protect 2 because that's on his core. And so they also get a heal when he does his ultimate, and it's a team attack, so you're basically nuking a chosen target. His passive, for every 10% divinity, reduce the damage that allies receive by 3%. So the closer he comes to his ultimate, the more the damage reduction between the ally protect and the defense up and this passive, which is just basically boosting your team to be strengthened against attacks. And he brings 30% defense into arena battles on his leader bonus here.
Not a big fan of him. I'm just gonna put that out there. I just feel like there's way better defenders, but it's just the way that this is reading too. I'll give it, his passive feels really strong, has really good potential. You know, every 10% divinity, whole team gains damage reduction. That's solid. Love where that's at. Everything else feels like it just falls a little short compared to other defenders. I'm putting him like kind of lower.
I think Phoenix for 2 turns is solid though. A lot of these heroes that we looked at previously, which of course were the epics and the rares, any of them that were placing Phoenix was just 1 turn, whereas placing Phoenix for 2 turns can be super useful, because if you know that between the ally protect and the defense up and that, you're just not going to survive that hit, being able to go in with that ultimate and placing Phoenix can be a lifesaver.
I'm going to go kind of in the middle on that one. I do like the Phoenix addition of having a 2 turns. But
I feel like
you're
playing for his ultimate.
Yeah. And you almost don't want to play your ultimate all that often because of that damage reduction getting passive. It almost feels more like an epic plus, almost like he's a slightly better Imhotep maybe. So I feel like maybe it just needs a little bit more for it to be stronger as a legendary. I mean, I think it's in the right spot. I think they're kind of in the right idea of what they're trying to do. I think it's just missing maybe just a little bit of a touch here or there, and I think it'll be probably where it would sit in a better spot.
So his core does on all allies. You know, his basic is singling in on single ally. I think the big switch that could make him more viable is if that basic landed Vanish on all your allies and Stalwart landed on all your allies.
That would be a little OP. It would be a little bit OP,
it would round him out, but we already know a lot of the other kits. So saying comparative, he's, for me, falling a little bit short. A little bit.
All right.
All right, so next we're going to move on to Enki. Floodfather is an invoker eternal in the Chaos Allegiance. So going on to his basic Surge, he attacks one enemy, increases the turn meter of all allies by 5%. Allies under men increase their turn meter by 10%. Reverse Blessing for his core removes all debuffs from all allies, attacks all enemies. Also places men all allies 3 turns. If an ally is already under men, increase their max HP by 4%, scaling up to 5 times, which is another 20%. That's a pretty solid increase in max HP. When you get to Awakening 3, remove all disables, all allies, then move to his ultimate with a 1650 cost, Temple of Abzu, where healing 25% HP on all allies, then increase the duration of men, all allies, by 1 turn. If an ally is below 50% HP, increase their turn meter by 20%. If an ally is above, place speed up 2 on the target for 2 turns. Once you eventually get to Awakening bonus 5, revive an ally, 100% meter, 100% P, instant turn. Love that, but when will we see that? Then Gift of Ingenuity, passive, increasing the healing from men's by 50%. Start of this hero's turn, activating men on each ally. Awakening bonus 1, places mends on all allies as well. He is 35% HP in all battles, leader bonus, extra divinity when placing mends on an ally. He's just a mend machine. That is, I think, solid kit at just healing. There's a lot of the removing disables once you're awakened is great. The revive at awakening 5, who knows where we'll see that. Speed up to try to help your target of allies to go. They're below 50% so that the mends will kick in. I actually like the way that's. I think you're going to want the awakening bonus because you want mend on all allies. Activate most of his other kit. So you're going to want that second copy early on. But other than that, I like it.
Broken. This is solid. Your thing that turned out to me too, like, so is you got the core that men lands for 3 turns, and you get the extension on the ultimate. It's like every step of this hero is progression, and it goes on forever because you get one copy, gets stronger with that passive. Every step here is good. This hero's crazy, really good.
Yeah, he really stands out to me as not just a healer and a cleanser, and healing through mend, which as we know, doesn't just give you the tick of health, it actually restores your broken max HP, right? It restores it. So mend is a very strong buff. The passive, if you can awaken in one, man, just placing mend on all allies at the start of the turn every time. You're just getting mend after mend and extensions on mends. But not just that, it's playing with the whole speed up so they get turns and turn meter push so they get more turns. It's, yeah. It says, if an ally is under mend on the basic, increase their turn meter by 10%. Guess what? They're always going to be under mend. Hello? Mm-hmm. So he seems like an absolute boss of a healer. Crazy.
He's a beast. He's beast.
I feel like I would almost, if it wasn't for getting Athena and I can't remember who I got on other account, but if I had pulled him before that, I probably would have had them locked in. That's a lot of healing.
He wasn't in the pool though, so.
Hey, you know what? He is so good. We're gonna remember his name now.
Plus, he's eternal. He's eternal, so very solid.
Oh, yeah. No one's gonna get his name wrong now. Lamashtu, of the Cunning Slayer. Crazy model for the character here.
Model is insane. I love it.
I don't know too much about the lore for Lamashtu, but I've heard some things about this kit. So the basic is a single target times. If the target is defeated, increase the damage of the next AoE attack 50%. Core is an AoE attack. If this ability defeats 3 or more enemies, reset the cooldown and increase this hero's divinity by 200. Max Awakening, crazy thought. Each enemy defeated, increase this hero's attack and crit damage by 5%, stacking up to 20 times, and speed by 5, stacking up to 100. Does not reset each wave. That could get crazy in some never-ending content. Crazy. Max Awakening though, so super crazy. Ultimate, call enemies 100% attack 2 times. Another AoE. Each enemy already defeated. For each enemy already defeated, summon a demon of pestilence, which explodes, triggering soul eruption. The 50% chance to place vulnerable 2 and acid on each target for 2 turns. Soul Eruption is the passive. If you awaken once for this ultimate, a 50% chance to place Curse 2 on each target for 2 turns. Getting into that passive, Soul Eruption, when this hero defeats an enemy, they explode, inflicting % attack to all enemies, ignores 100% defense, but cannot be critical. Level 3 Awakening, after defeating 10 enemies, the explosion can now be critical. This is a rough one. I thought it was Lamashtu with this passive that people were taking the imprint, but I'm just not seeing it. And I'm not really feeling it. Yeah. Is it the... Okay.
Yeah.
What am I missing here?
People liked the sound of the imprint because the imprint is basically pure damage when you defeat an enemy. So you would place this imprint on any slayer that you know is going to one-shot an enemy, and then that enemy causes extra damage to its party, to the other enemies, based on pure damage. Completely ignores defense. So you're going to just be causing a ripple effect of damage that's just, pretty crazy. She sounds fun. I think she sounds like a fun champion to explode around with. Just play with,
Yeah,
and you're going to
yeah,
have
yeah,
these
yeah.
explosions like this Demon of Pestilence, which explodes, triggers the solar eruption, which ignores defense, placing vulnerable 2 in that, which is good to have extra things like Awakened Curse 2, vulnerable 2 in your acid on the targets. The fact that her basic synergizes so well because it's increasing the damage of the next AoE attack, which is going to be either her ultimate or her core. So you could go in with her basic to trigger that. Even if she's not going to take another turn, if she's sitting at full divinity, you can do her basic and then you can do her ultimate straight after. And it's going to do even more damage and cause just these massive explosions happening all around the place. One thing I wanted to draw attention to was on the core Awakened 5. This probably is not something most people are going to see, but it says it increases speed stacking up to 100. It doesn't say 100 times. It says stacking up to 100.
Oh,
Normally
you're right.
it
Yep.
says something times, so it should be speed stacking up to 20 times because it's 5, but it stacks up to a cap of 100 extra speed on Awakening 5, which even just looking at the Awakening 5s is crazy because we're not going to see those for a long time.
For that, you could even just rope it in there with attack and crit damage by 5% and speed by 20 times. At that point, it's just a little extra wordy. I mean, 5 times 20 is your 100. So it's a little extra words on there that probably not needed if they wanted to make it a little bit less. And I know that
You're
there were a
so
lot of
right.
people. Yeah, there were a lot of
So
people
right.
that were actually like talking highly of Lamashtu damage purpose. Obviously, being a slayer, that's what you're looking for. But it's an interesting kit, and unless you get it awakened at that 5, that's where it really starts to snowball. And I think I was one of the first legendaries I pulled in the game, so I'm not going to not save a legendary in the game for now for the mini game. So it was one of those, you don't really want to keep a slayer 'cause you're going to have a bunch of damage dealers. You really want that support instead. As soon as I got one, skipped over it. But his scaling, or her scaling, is supposed to be pretty nutty. Somebody that's going to do a lot of damage for you if you pull her. So she's going to have at least some value.
Yeah, and some never-ending content, something that just goes on and on, or something and scales into your damage. I could see it long term. Again, that Awakening 5, she is falling short for me.
Okay, Marduk,
Yeah,
Call of the Sun. Marduk is an eternal invoker. So we got ourselves another healer or turn meter pusher here with an invoker. High speed, 117 base speed, as you'd expect in a legendary invoker. Okay, Marduk's basic. Attack an enemy, then spread a buff from each ally and place it on all allies. That's actually quite nice, just being on the basic attack there. You're going, hey, there's a buff, let's just give it to everybody. Not bad. Awakening 1, increase the duration of a random buff on each ally by 1 turn. Even nicer. Core, remove all debuffs. We've got our cleanse. Then attack an enemy. All allies will join in the attack on the core. Also, place block debuff for 2 turns. Solid core. Awakening 3, place Phoenix as well, which cannot be removed. A protected Phoenix on everybody. Ultimate, requiring 1650 divinity. Remove all disables from all allies. Then place Stalwart and Speed Up 2 on all allies for 2 turns. Also increase the divinity and turn meter by 30%, pushing your team forward with that ultimate. Passive, for every 10 debuffs this hero's team receives, activate this hero's core ability, removing those debuffs, attacking an enemy, and doing that ally attack. I wonder if you get to choose who the enemy is that you attack when it activates the core ability. Or does it just light up and go, please choose your target, so that you can go in with this core ability. Awakening 5, if this passive activates the hero's core ability, increase this hero's divinity by 100%, basically giving them an instant ultimate. Leader bonus, 25% speed in all battles. Huge leader bonus here. And divinity when placing a buff on an ally. Not a lot of buffs that are being placed, except through the ultimate. Of course, you have to be awakened to get that Phoenix buff, but it looks like the only buffs are being placed via the ultimate, this whole Stalwart and Speed Up thing. Whereas if you've got another hero there in your party that is able to place buffs, then I think the whole buff spread thing is kind of cool on the basic, but the fact that you get this bonus divinity when placing a buff means you're relying on the ultimate to increase your divinity even more. Which means your ultimate could roll round faster, right? Because you go, I've used my ultimate, And because I'm placing buffs with the ultimate, I'm actually climbing the ultimate meter again, which is not bad. He seems pretty solid for an invoker. No healing, you'd need a healer as well, but pretty solid in terms of cleansing and buffing.
He's one I would say
Reading-
has a fun kit. Like, I like his kit. It's maybe, I wouldn't say niche, but it would have niche amazing moments. Spreading the buff, that's rare to see. The cleanse just left and right. Like, this is really good all around. Just fun kit. Fun.
So with me reading that, and I might be digging too much into it, but the buff placement for the past, or what was it, for the generation, sorry. He's placing the buff spread, though, on allies. So if he does pick the one buff and spread it, does that also count? So that would be fun to be, because that would make it a little bit more interesting, and that would bring it around more often.
You're right.
So that could be something that would factor into that. Makes it a little bit better in my eyes. And then on top of that, you could sit there now and start grabbing some of those other champions that self-buff themselves with something else. And then spread one buff from each ally. If you've got one ally that buffs himself with Sharpen, another one with Defense Up, another one with Attack Up, and then takes that and spreads that. Now that's 4 buffs on all your allies. I mean, just the way I read that, that's kind of what it sounds like it would do.
That does sound like...
That almost sounds a little OP if you build the right team around it, though.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
If you can control the buffs, you can control which buffs
Right.
are being spread. Yeah. And then if that counts towards the extra divinity, he's going to climb to his ultimate pretty quickly. And then you cleanse the disables, you place more buffs. And yeah, no, good, really good points, Brent. That makes him sound even more solid as a team support.
Just want to pair him with like a Leonidas. Have that. He buffs himself with some things, and he could easily just throw that around. I mean, that would be an interesting combo. And I'm just kind of thinking game ahead for later on.
Yeah.
So we go next to Pazuzu, Wind Tyrant. He has a Disruptor, Strength Affinity, Chaos, and he has no leader bonus. So start off with that. Basic of Blinding Gale. Attack one enemy with a 75% chance. Place accuracy down to 2 turns. 75% chance to remove one random buff. Core Withering Storm. Attack all enemies with 75% chance. Place Corrupt on each target for 2 turns. And if the target's aligned with Order, places Spare on the target for 1. So you're looking at a double placement. The 1 disable and the 1 debuff. Awakening bonus 1. The targets under any buff, decrease that target's turn meter by 10%. Increase this hero's divinity. Roll into his ultimate Demon King's Command. Attacks all enemies 3 times. Triple hitter. Each hit, 50% chance of placing Vulnerable 2, Acid, and Curse 2 on each target. 2 turns. The Farsighted Awakening bonus 5. All debuffs are placed on an enemy, steal 20% of their turn meter. That would be sanity. Probably get a full turn meter boost if you end up landing on all targets that you're facing if there are 5. Tempest Wind's passive goes with an enemy gaining a buff, increase this hero's turn meter by 10%, and if the enemy gains 3 buffs in 1 turn, this hero gets an extra turn. He's going to cut right in, and Awakening 3, increasing this hero's accuracy by 5 to 100. Enemy gains a buff. That's a solid setup. Placing the debuff and disable on an enemy, you get the extra. Or debuff or disable, yep. You get 3 debuff possibilities for ultimate. You have a debuff and a disable in your core. You've got the accuracy down and the basic. That's a lot of extra divinity too. So that 1550 ultimate cost is actually not as bad as it seems. He's going to roll that around pretty quick too, comparatively to some of those other higher costs. Do like the synergy of the kit. I think the awakening bonuses are great, and they're going to hard to get, obviously, being for the 5 core ultimate there, but that's a full turn meter. Yeah, that's basically an extra turn and then another extra turn. Gonna be busted if you can get. I like that.
Yeah, major potential here.
Yeah, the Pazuzu passive, the as an imprint, is actually pretty solid overall. Now, not too many heroes are going to be placing 3 buffs in 1 turn, but it says if the enemy gains 3 buffs. It makes me wonder if it includes buff extension. Probably not. But if any of the enemies are doing some sort of buff spread at the same time as placing buffs. Anytime the enemy gets 3 buffs in one turn, so maybe there's a double mend and a shield, or it could be any combination of them, it's pretty rare that they're going to get those 3 buffs, but all of a sudden you cut in, which I think is very strong for an imprint. But just the fact that the turn meter is just constantly being pushed forward, it says that it's 10% for every time an enemy gains a buff. So you're up against an enemy team that just is buff crazy. You're just getting your turn meter pushed all the time, and then you take your turn, do your core, roll around to the core faster because you're taking so many turns. Accuracy down, kind of useful in niche situations. I think he's useful in certain areas, that's all. I don't think he's an all-rounder. I don't think you're going to be ecstatic that you're able to place vulnerable plus acid plus curse on the ultimate. Those are going to land because it's a triple hitter, and every time it's trying to place all 3. So you're pretty guaranteed, not 100% guaranteed, but there's a pretty good chance that you're going to land all 3 of these nasty debuffs on your enemies.
Yeah, said.
And then if you get him to Awakening 2, he's going to ignore resistance as well, 20%. So that'll make it even easier to place those as well.
It's me up next with Shamash. The Strength Invoker. This guy was a god in Alpha. He's always at like the top 5 hero picks. Let's see what's done to him. Heard some not good things. Let's check it out. Basic. Attack an enemy, single target. The ally with the lowest divinity will join in the attack. The target is under Aether Burn. Increase the turn meter of all allies by 10%. Begin to the core, single target attack. All allies will join in the attack. Has a 75% chance to place Aether Burn 2 for 2 turns on the enemy. Then you awaken him once. The Aether Burn 2 cannot be resisted. The ultimate here, revive random ally with 30% HP and 30% turn meter. Then place Radiance 2 and attack up 2 for 2 turns on all allies. Also heal all allies for 15% of the target's HP. Place a shield equal to 50% of overhealing. Place shield equal to 50% of overhealing. The first time an ally is killed in battle, gain full divinity and activate Light of the Heavens, which is if the ally dies, you revive them first time. Awakening max. If an ally is revived, set their divinity to 100%. So max awakening, you're going to give them an instant ultimate as soon as they revive. Moving on to the passive, when an ally joins this hero in attack, increase their divinity by 100. At level 3 awakening, also place block debuff for 1 turn on allies who join attack. 20% initiative in all battles. He feels the same. He kind of feels the same from Alpha. I don't actually see anything crazy different here. And he was really solid in Alpha. He had a lot of good utility.
He's very useful. So this ultimate is pretty cool, right? It's just a single target revive, but you are giving them buffs. Like, you're giving everybody buffs, so you don't have to use it. You don't have to use the ultimate to revive someone. You can do it to place Radiance 2 and attack up on everyone. And he automatically activates it. You don't have to awaken him for that to happen. It's baked into his ultimate. That this is rare. This is rare for any hero where something activates on a condition like this. You are guaranteed to have an automatic revive the first time that a hero dies, which is insane. I think it came in very clutch. Increasing the divinity whenever they join an attack. It's random who joins the attack, but it's on his basic, which happens all the time. Pushes the turn meter. That's if they're under Aether Burn. Now, the downside of this, the only downside, is if you are using his core to place that Aether Burn, when you're joining an attack against a single target, you're probably going to kill that target. However, you can use it in certain situations to force an immortal on a target, and so therefore Aether Burn will place because they didn't die. If it's a hero that you can't kill in one hit, you can kind of force them to low HP, or if they're Hercules or something similar to that where they get health back, you're basically forcing that passive. You're forcing it into another state and placing the Aether Burn. So a little bit niche there in terms of not killing them on the core and placing the debuff. However, Aether Burn comes from other heroes, so if you've got the synergy of other heroes in your party able to place Aether Burn, then he takes advantage of that with his basic and pushes their turn meters a little bit. Shamash definitely A tier, if not lower S tier. He's a very strong support. Doesn't bring a lot, but that ally attack and that revive, super, super good.
I like the fact that when it revives too, I mean, it's like, you start at 30%, but then he also heals the ally by 15% as well. So he's really almost close to 50, being at 45. So you're coming back with at least a substantial amount of health to survive the next hit too, which is always nice to have. I don't think I got him in the alpha. I didn't get to really play around with him all that much, but yeah, he was definitely really used. Highly wanted by everybody that was like Dan said, I don't think they changed it too much. Maybe they changed scaling. That's probably what I would think.
Maybe. If you guys had watched my final summoning from the minigame, the video I put out last week, you would have seen that I had Shamash locked in. I thought he was my pick for my alt account because he was the strongest hero that I pulled. I actually replaced him. So
With who?
Svarog.
Yeah.
Svarog.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was pulling all the final stones, and I was thinking, Shamash is so strong. I'm looking forward to having him on this account. And then Svarog popped up, and I was like, yep, there we go, taking him. Yep, let's get ourselves one of the absolute S tier, top ranked defenders in the whole game. But we will get to Svarog down the track. It's just, I did have Shamash locked in, but no longer, so I do not have a Shamash waiting in the wings. Looks like we are up to Izumo. We are starting with Amaterasu. So Amaterasu, the goddess of creation, I believe. She is an eternal, good start, and she's an invoker, which means she brings that support. For an invoker, her speed's not super high, but it's higher than a lot of other things like disruptors and slayers and that, 113 speed. Amaterasu's basic: attack an enemy and heal all allies by a tiny bit. If the target is under ether burn, increase the heal by 100%. So it's 10% HP heal instead if they are under ether burn. Core: place block, debuff, and radiance 2 on everyone for 2 turns, then has a chance to place ether burn 2 on all enemies for 2 turns. Solid core, the whole block debuffs plus radiance, very strong. Rising Sun, her ultimate, costing 1850 divinity, which is quite a high cost. Revive all defeated allies with 50% turn meter and 50% divinity. That's an AoE party-wide revive. Then reset all ability cooldowns. It's an ability reset. Also, equalize the HP of all allies to the ally or enemy with the highest current HP. That is massive. Awakening 3. I didn't say Awakening 1 on the core. That's Ether Burn cannot be resisted. Awakening 1. Awakening 3. Place Phoenix on each revived ally for 2 turns, which is protected. And passive: at the start of an enemy turn, decrease the damage this hero receives by 10%, stacking up to 10 times. So if the enemy is taking a turn, enemy after enemy, she's stacking up her damage decrease each time they take, before they take their turn, right? Each time their turn rolls around. Stacks reset at the start of this hero's turn. She's basically defending herself in a way every time enemies go and take a turn. Awakening 5, damage reduction applies to everyone in your party. Probably never going to see that, but it's there. It exists. She has a leader bonus of 30% initiative across all battles, and she gains bonus divinity whenever she heals an ally, which is happening on her basic and is happening on her ultimate. Strong, solid. Team revive is insane. Plus equalizing their HP. It's not just, why even bother reviving them at 50%? Oh, it's not 50% health, it's 50% turn meter and divinity. So there we go. So you're getting divinity, turn meter, HP. That is one of the strongest ultimates I have seen, I have to say.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Super cool ultimate.
Justifies the high cost. It really does.
Nothing else to say?
I don't have much else to say. It's a great kit. I love the way it synergizes with everything. That passive almost sounds like it's busted just because, like you said, she's protecting herself. So especially like if you hit an arena, you're going to want to usually try to take out that healer or the reviver. You know that they want to go down. Well, she's just going to help herself stay alive. Have to have a single target going in after her too. So that definitely changes your strategy. I do like the way that does that.
Another major thing to point out is just with her being able to apply Aetherburn 2 here, there's a lot of other synergy that can roll with that. So that's just another layer that she's solid. She's a solid hero to pull.
So we're going to move on to Fujin next. The Guardian of Air. The misspelling of Guardian was definitely a little bit of a throw off, but we talk about how they're defender with the cunning and chaos for allegiance. Moving on to their abilities, where you get gust of wind on the base, attacks all enemies, 30% chance to place resistance down 2 on each target for 2 turns. Raijin is also join the attacks. We have another synergy duo. Core abilities, Wind Wall. Attacking all enemies, places Protect 2 on all allies except for this hero, places Stalwart for 1 turn. If Raijin is on the team, place Ward on him. That's an additional buff on his ally partner. Awakening bonus 1 transfers all debuffs from all allies dead, and if Raijin is on the team, his turn meter by 20% for each debuff transferred. Ultimate wins a change, transfers 1 debuff from each ally to this hero, attacks 1 enemy, and then transfers all debuffs to that target. For each debuff transferred, increased all allies' barrier by 50% of his. If Raijin is on the team, transfers all debuffs to this hero dead. Awakening 5, if an ally is attacked by AoE attackers while under Protect, places barrier on the passive of Cyclone Barrier, allies receive 30% decreased damage from AoE attack. Awakening 3 changes to reflect 25% of the reduced damage back to the attacker, with if Raijin is on the team, reflect 100% damage by him. Leader bonus of 50 resistance. All battles increase divinity bonus 100% of the attack and AoE. Basically, he's going to be anti-AoE. That's an interesting kit. The Raijin combo makes it seem to me like you're kind of want Raijin on there, and I guess we'll see what he ends up doing too, and how much it helps him as well.
I'm really confused by this Awakening 5 on that ultimate.
I think that the Awakening's around the wrong way. So if you read the Awakening bonus for Awakening 1 on the core, it doesn't make sense. Why would you change buffs to transferring debuffs? What I think it is Awakening 1 should be on the ultimate, and Awakening 5 should be on the core, if you look at it, because it says transfer all debuffs from all allies instead of transfer 1 debuff from each ally. Matches up.
So that could be, but then my issue is it says if an ally is attacked by AoE attacks while under Protect. So is it a passive? Is now when you unlock that Awakening 5, it's just a straight passive for the rest of the fight?
It sounds
is that how that reads?
It sounds like it is, because he's placing Protect on his core. So let's shift the Awakening 5 to the core, right? If he is placing this Protect on all allies on his core, it's basically empowering that Protect. So it's an empowered version of the Protect buff, where every time they are impacted by an AoE attack, it's just basically mitigating that even more by placing the barrier on them. It's basically a free barrier whenever he's doing the core. It's Protect plus a barrier every time the enemy does an AoE. It's pretty niche, I think, in terms of AoE, but as you guys said, he is all about mitigating AoE damage. There will be certain fights where you're taking heavy AoE damage from bosses in certain dungeons, and if you have Fujin and you bring him in as your defender for those specific fights, he's gonna really hold his own and just mitigate that damage quite a lot.
I feel like the Awakening bonus level is probably accurate. You're 1 versus 5, when you're 5 being on the ultimate. Maybe the wordings just need to swap. I feel like transferring all debuffs from all allies instead seems a little strong for an Awakening 1.
Yeah.
So it might just be the typo where the wording needs switched.
Yeah, just the
transfer of all debuffs probably does go better on the ultimate.
You're right. I'd say Awakening 5 would be transfer all debuffs. Awakening 1 is an added barrier with Protect. Makes a lot more sense. I'm sure they're aware of it.
Good note. Takedown for sure. Yeah, interesting hero. Love his aesthetic though, so he's got that going for him either way. Izanagi, Great Father, Wisdom Invoker. Got a really crazy whole backstory. The lore here is insane. As basic is he attacks a single target, increase the divinity of all allies by 5%, and if Izanami is on the team, she will join the attack. Increase the turn meter of all allies by 5% at level 3 Awakening. Then on his core, place initiative up 2 on all allies for 2 turns. Reduce the divinity cost of all allies by 10% up to 3 times. The ultimate sits at place attack up 2, which is strong, on all allies for 2 turns, then increase the divinity of all allies by 20%. Also increase the damage of each ally's next ultimate ability by 30%. If Izanami is on the team and has been defeated, revive her with a 50% HP and 100% turn meter. At max awakening, after using the ultimate ability, this hero empowers the next ally ultimate ability and will restore 50% of their divinity after use. The passive is for every 5 buffs placed on the enemy team, activate this hero's basic ability against the enemy with the highest turn meter. At level 1 awakening, each time an enemy gains a buff, increase the turn meter of this hero by 10%. This can trigger up to 1 time per enemy turn. Yeah, Izanagi and Izanami. When I was originally reading these guys, it's like you have to play them both together. I don't think he's solid on his own, but that's just kind of my feeling on it. What do you guys think?
He's basically the divinity king, right? His whole shtick is that he is pushing divinity, pushing ultimates. He is going to cause your party to get to their ultimates faster and to do more damage with their ultimates. So if you're all about smacking the enemy team or whatever, supporting your team with the ultimates or empowering your team with ultimates, then he's your guy. That's all he does. He's a one-trick pony. He brings ultimate increase for your team, which can be handy in content. I don't say that he shines, because ultimates are great, but they don't make or break a lot of the content.
I agree with Dan. I feel like they're definitely a good combo together. You have the Invoker Disruptor combo between the two of them, and obviously we'll get over Izanami here in a little bit. But the combo works really well. But I can reading their kits. So, and to also agree with you there, Gecko, is that he's not great by himself. He's kind of there. So what really unlocks him as a legendary is throwing them in there together. And then the dungeon bonus as his initiative for the leader too. So like you said, just his ultimate ability. He just ultimate, trying to bring all that up. But he definitely wants his partner. This is one of those love story connections that they want together. So
moving on to Izanami, the Great Mother. She is a wisdom defender. Wisdom disruptor. Look at her staff. That's wicked, dude. It's got a crane on it, I believe. I think that's a crane. Or is it a heron?
Yeah.
It's a heron, maybe. Izanami. Basic. Attack an enemy based on accuracy. Right off the bat, you want to be building her with high accuracy with a chance to place initiative down. So this is where she pairs with old Izanagi, her partner. Because he's pushing your team to have more ultimates. She's pushing the enemy team to have fewer ultimates. She's basically limiting them and stopping them from taking ultimates. Core. Remove shields from all enemies, then attack them with a chance to place Corrupt on the target with the highest HP, a 3-turn Corrupt. If Izanagi is with her, he will join the attack using his core. Ultimate, costing only 1,000 divinity. AoE attack with a chance to place Speed down 2, so not just their ultimates, but their chance to take a turn, and Curse 2 on each target for 2 turns, then decrease their turn meter. So she's really limiting that enemy team. Awakening 5 will steal turn meter from enemies instead. Passive, when this hero attacks an enemy under initiative down, decrease their turn meter by 5%. At Awakening 3, if an enemy is defeated while they are under initiative down, places Banish on them for 1 turn. She does not have a leader bonus, but she does gain bonus divinity whenever placing a debuff, such as initiative down, corrupt, speed down, curse 2, or even Banish on her passive. So she says, you're not going to take a turn and you're not going to do your ultimates. And paired with Izanagi, he says, we're all going to take our ultimates and take lots of turns.
I feel like individually she's not that strong. Together though, yeah, I feel like individually it's like they're pretty low tier, both of them. Then you put them together, you have them on the same team, pushes them up a notch. I still don't see it as like game breaking, but together is where they work. They work together. They don't really work that individually.
Her kit's a little less locked up by Izanagi not being there. I feel like she has a little bit more use in our solo aspect, but they are definitely a good pairing. You need to have her on the team for Izanagi to actually do anything, but I feel like she's definitely the more useful one outside of the duo. And so, but beyond that, she doesn't have the leader bonus, so that doesn't help you much, but it is going to at least slow down the other guys from able to take their turns, take their ultimate, things like that. So I feel like that'll be at least a little bit more used if she was fires. Well, next up is Oda Nobunaga. He is the Demon Daimyo. Archetype is a brawler, Colonel, order for the allegiance. And to get started with his leader bonus, he's got a 30% initiative in all battles. All around, let's see if that actually fits. So we got Daimyo Claim for his basic attack. One enemy increases this hero's divinity by 5%. Once you awaken 5, increase an additional 2% to enemy this hero has defeated in battle. Core of Unyielding Ambition attacks all enemies. Places speed up to and initiative up to on this hero for 2 turns. This attack defeats an enemy. Buffs cannot be removed. His ultimate at 1400 cost, Imperial Conquest, attacks one enemy. All allies join the attack with their basics. Izumo allies inflict 30% increased damage. Increase turn meter of this hero by 50% if an enemy is defeated. With Awakening 3, turn meter increases now 100% when defeating enemy. Passive called Unify the Realm increases the damage inflicted by this hero by 10% and reduces damage received by 10% as well for each time this hero defeats an enemy, stacking up to 5. Awakening 1 stacks are not reset across each wave. I believe I accidentally didn't read the Awakening bonus 1 on the basic, which is Awakening 5. Increase the additional divinity for each enemy this hero is defeated in battle. He's a brawler. He's definitely got that going for him. I think that maybe if they do some sort of realm-based stuff, he might have it used. I'm not super stoked about it. Maybe his scaling, his damage is high or something. But just by the fact that his ultimate has the Izumo allies inflicting 30% damage, I feel like he's going to be somewhat, but that's just my take.
Yeah, he feels lackluster on paper. I think just overall most brawlers feel like this, where do I use them in the game, man? I think you're going to be bringing brawlers into very specific content where you have limited positions for your party, and you want someone that is bringing a mix between an invoker and a slayer, not doing everything as strongly as either of those, but they're supporting their team in a way and doing a bit of damage as well. It's kind of odd that a lot of this is dependent on defeating an enemy, because can you imagine brawlers doing enough damage to defeat enemies? If they're at low health, yes. So you probably want to be bringing your slayer in to knock them down, and then in that specific content where brawlers are going to be useful as that hybrid, that combined invoker or disruptor plus slayer combo, right? If you bring them into that content and you've whittled away at the enemy's health and they're ready to die, and the brawler comes in with either his AoE or his attack, and you're like, yeah, I'm empowering my team even more because I'm killing that enemy. But it is quite niche, and overall it is a fairly lackluster kit.
I think it's a trend with just this realm in general. Like we're having a hard time finding a solid foundation here. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. We got Raijin. I believe I'm saying it right. Raijin. Strength Slayer. So his basic coming out the gate. Attack 3 random targets. If the target is under a debuff, each hit places barrier on this hero. If Fujin is on the team, he will also gain the barrier and join the attack. That's solid having him on the team. Solid, good basic. Core. Attack all enemies 2 times. First hit has a 75% chance to place Hex 2. Each target for 2 turns. Just looking at Hex real quick because it's just fresher. Its allies also take 5% of damage received. It's halved for AoE damage. That's for 2 turns. Then the second hit has a 75% chance to place defense down 2 on each target for 2 turns. Awakening 3, if an enemy receives both Hex 2 and defense down 2 from this ability, increase their duration by 1 turn. Go from 2 to 3. The ultimate is attack all enemies, AoE, 3 times. Increase this hero's divinity by 10% for each enemy defeated. If Fujin is on the team, also increase his divinity by the same amount. At Awakening 1, if an enemy is under Hex, each hit has a 25% increased chance to strong hit. The passive is when an enemy receives a debuff, shock them, inflicting damage for 100% attack. This can trigger up to 1 time per hero turn. At Max Awakening, no longer limits to 1 trigger per hero turn. 25% attack in all battles. Izumu just, he just said it before I even read his skills. Like, it's just, this falls short too. It's really just nothing special. This ultimate is nothing at all. Like, I don't know what they were really going with for this one. Attack all enemies for 3 times. Increase some divinity. Having Fujin on the team, sure, helps a little bit. That pushes Fujin in the right direction, giving him a barrier, have some joint attacks, giving him some more divinity. But Hex is not that strong. Defense down 2 is nice. Pretty lackluster here.
Yeah, especially since legendaries are so hard to build. You would bring a different defense down 2 gem. You'd probably want to bring in one that was max awakened from rare or epic. It really is making the Izmo realm seem pretty underwhelming, especially when you've got your first Slayer here, and you're going, yes, a Slayer, he's going to come in and just do massive damage, and I mean, the multipliers are going to be good at the end of the day. Most Slayers are going to have decent multipliers. The fact that it's 3 random attacks is a little bit off-putting. Getting a barrier, nice, a little bit more survivability, but overall, just very basic kits for legendary status.
Oh, so I was said it there when I was thinking about it, my mind jumped to comparing it to epics, and like there are so many epics that blow this kit away, but then drop it even further. Imagine that this was a rare hero, then it might be a little bit more viable.
I think they've been building a lot of these Izumo. It feels like they've been building a lot of these Izumo legendaries at the last minute, or without really being super creative with their kits. I mean, compare them to Avalon. Avalon is massively better.
Throw King Arthur in there. I think he's taking all 6 of these out. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, Izumo needs some work.
Let's starting with Aphrodite. Aphrodite was in Alpha 3. In fact, 3 of these Olympians were in Alpha 3. Aphrodite, Heavenly Desire. She is an eternal invoker and Chaos Allegiance, and she has a base speed of 114. That's lower than I thought it was going to be. I thought she was going to be up there in the 118 to 120 base speed. Maybe they nerfed her speed as well. Because Aphrodite, by the way, did get a little bit of a nerf post Alpha 2, I think it was. Basic.
Yeah, 2.
Attack an enemy. Allies under speed up to an initiative up 2 will join this attack using their default ability. After attacking, place speed up 2 for 1 turn on herself. It's not bad. She's placing speed up on herself. She's helping to push herself forward, which is nice. Her core, target 1 ally, place speed up to an initiative up 2 on them, and then gain an extra turn. So you'd place her core, you'd put that on, and then you'd attack, and they would both come in. So you're choosing who you're buffing, who you're pushing forward, and who is coming in to join the basic attack. Her ultimate cost is 2,000, which is pretty hefty, and it increases with the bonus divinity whenever placing a buff on an ally, which is all the time because her core does roll around actually quite frequently. Ultimate, attack all enemies, then extends the duration of speed up to an initiative up to on all allies by 1 turn, increases the turn meter and divinity of all allies by 15%. This effect is doubled on any allies who you've managed to place speed up to an initiative up to on. You can awaken 3 her, remove all disable and debuff from all allies that are under these fantastic buffs. Passive, allies gain 2% turn meter when inflicting damage to an enemy. This effect is doubled on allies, guess what, who are under speed up 2 and initiative up 2. Awakening 5, allies that are under these buffs gain 20% increased incoming healing and inflict 20% increased damage. She's all about placing these buffs and the allies being able to do more or gain more because of the buffs that she's placing. 20% speed in all battles, really good leader bonus. It's across all battles, which means all areas of the game basically. I think that's a very nice leader bonus. I can't remember how they nerfed her a little bit, but I felt like they did downplay her kit a little bit because she was the speed initiative queen during Alpha 3. Of course, we only had, I think it was 19 heroes to choose from, or 17 heroes to choose from, and she was way up there as an A tier legendary hero just because of this extra speed and initiative that she was bringing, and she was basically pushing your team forward, plus the ally attack when they've got the buff on them was actually really, really useful and really handy. I still think she's very solid. She's not bringing any healing, but I think she's really solid in terms of making your team go faster. She's basically the go faster queen. Not as much as she was, but still very, very solid.
Just trying to reread things through here, but Alpha 1, she was broken. It was literally broken. So it wasn't she was just strong. Her kit, basically every time one of your allies ulted, everyone gained divinity. That's how it worked. Kept scaling. You could go on Fafnir and have non-stop ultimates. So ultimate. There was a chain bug problem there. It was with Heimdall. I forget if it was Isis or Shamash as the other one. Aphrodite was the problem. They fixed that in Alpha 2, and from there, they just kept nerfing her.
Yeah.
And I think they nerfed her way too hard. I think she's okay. Don't think she's as, I think, it's just because it's speed up 2, it's initiative up 2. Strong buff itself, if you think about placement, I think they nerfed her way too hard.
They did. By Alpha 3, she was no longer in my team.
Wasn't useful. Yeah.
The single target for the core, placing the speed up initiative 2, and it's only for 1 turn.
Yeah.
It is a little upsetting.
It is.
You have to get the extension from your ultimate, and you have to hope that it doesn't fall off in order to be able to get the benefit of it from the 1. And then, so you're not going to be able to get it spread to your entire team unless you have a buff spreader, realistically, from the way I'm reading everything here. And so, maybe that's just too much of a nerf. She can still be good, I'm sure. You get enough speed on her where she's taking 2 to 1 turns. I mean, you're going to end up having it snowball from there too. But definitely don't see her being what she was in the alpha.
She's become a little underwhelming from what she should have been. She should absolutely shine as this turn meter push. What would make a really good change, and it might be a bit OP, but they should make it an AoE on her core, all allies, and they should make it 2 turns. The fact that she extends it and she uses it and they gain turn meter and all of that, it's
even if they just did the all allies, even if it was just 1 turn, it would help a ton. It would make her a little bit more. So it's the one thing she major has going for her is the 20% speed in all battles, the leader bonus.
Yeah,
it's useful everywhere. That's what I see she has going for her.
Well, next, a legendary in Olympus faction is Apollo. Apollo was not the alpha. Like you mentioned before, there were 3, but the other 2 are at the end of our list here for this realm. So Apollo's Evoker, Wisdom, and Order for the Allegiant. So now we can get into the kit here. And I love the names of these already. So just off of Apollo's lore. But his basic is Twin Arrows of Delphi. Ow.
Delphi.
The basic is Twin Arrows of Delphi. Attack 1 enemy time. The first hit places Mend on all allies for 1 turn. Second hit has 50% chance to place acid target per turn. If Artemis is on the team, she'll also join in the attack. Core is called Solar Mandate. Attack 1 enemy, place attack up 2 on all allies for a turn. Also equalize the divinity of the ally with the lowest divinity to this hero's divinity. If Artemis is on the also equalize her divinity. Once you hit Awakening 5, allies' divinity is equalized. Their next attack will ignore 15% defend. Equinox, Purity, and Rot as the name for ultimate. Attack all enemies. Reduce the cooldown of each ally's core ability by 1 turn. For each ally under Mend, increase their divinity by 15%. And for each enemy under Acid, decrease their divinity by 15%. Prophetic Wisdom as the passive is whenever an ally uses a core ability, increase damage of their core ability by 10%, stacking sets on each wave with the ability Awakening bonus at level 3, increasing allies' turn meter by 15% as well after they use their core ability. That's gonna be fun. I love the lore combo in his kit. I feel that he doesn't quite necessarily need Artemis, but it does now make me interested when we get to that kit to see how much it'll synergize. I like the Mends on all allies. It's going to be very useful. I do love that. An attack up on core shows attack up as the logo, but it says attack up 2, so not 100% on which one they'll end up actually using, obviously, once the game is live. But I do like it. I do like this kit, and I think it plays into his lore very well. I do enjoy this.
That is a curious catch that it says attack up 3 as the pitcher. He's also missing 2 awakening bonuses. We know where that could be headed. So I guess, awakening bonus 5, that should be down there, and then is there. It's just missing in the 1.
And that's the weird part too, because the awakening bonus list shows awakening 1 as the prophetic wisdom awakening.
Yeah.
So there's some more work that has to be done here to finalize this kit. But
I can't say too much about him because it's hard to really place him, and I don't know enough about Artemis. See how that affects it here. Right off the bat, I don't think this is good. But again, I don't want to say that because, once they fix him or finish him, I'll say, once they finish him, he feels so not finished. Once they do, maybe he'll be something good.
You're getting a bit of Mend, which is always handy, as we've been saying. That's nice. Plus the attack up 2 on allies. That's nice. You know, it's good for
Yeah.
your team to do more damage and to get their divinity pushed a little bit and their turn meters pushed a little bit and that kind of thing. So he's more about pushing their ultimates a little bit more. So it's taking them one step closer to their ultimates, giving them a bit more attack and helping them stay alive a little bit through men's. He seems fairly mediocre for a legendary. I think he's gonna help support the team, just be a bit of a help.
Moving on, we got Ares, the god of war, strength slayer here, looking for some damage. Basic, coming out the gate, attacking one enemy 3 times, decrease the target's defense by 2%, stacking up to 10 times. Each strong hit also decreases the target's initiative by 5, taking up to 10 times. Core, AoE, and ignores shield and barrier on each target. If the attack is a strong hit, remove all shield and barrier from each target. If an enemy is defeated, increase this hero's divinity by 10%. At level 1 awakening, also increase this hero's turn meter by 10% when an enemy is defeated. Ultimate, attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit ignores protect, intercept, immortal, and ward. The attack is a strong hit, also ignores 20% of the target's defense. Now at level 3 awakening, place block revive on enemies defeated by this ability. Passive, each time an enemy receives a debuff, increase this hero's chance to strong hit by 5% on their next ability. With max awakening, each time this hero receives a buff, increase the damage of his next ability by 10%. 30% crit damage in arena battles. Some good utility here to kind of shoot through shields, barriers, ignoring the buffs. And it's a chance to, cut through an immortal, the awakening at 3 with block revive. It does have its utility. Definitely has a place he could be used, but nothing really stand out here to as a balance.
Dude, he's massive. He is a very strong champion. He's probably one of the strongest legendaries in the Olympian faction, aside from Zeus, whom we haven't got to yet. This guy is a monster. Have you actually absorbed what his kit does? He's going to go in and just... he's going to nuke stuff. He is going to not just smack hard, he ignores protect, intercept, immortal, and ward. Nobody is going to be safe, especially in the arena. If you focus on the PvP aspect, great. He's going to be your absolute monster in the arena. But even in PvE content, he's just going to get through certain parts of that content without a problem. He's going to be a huge character. I would love to have this guy. He is going to absolutely smack like a truck and going to shrug off any mitigation that the enemy team has. Also, he has all this increase to his strong hits. So he's gonna play off the whole strong hit thing. So if you can help him to strong hit a lot more, aside from the passive, other ways of increasing strong hits, then I think he's just going to do, he's going to do so much. Because he decreases their defense as well to even hit harder. And he ignores their barriers and, I think he's an absolute monster. I think he's up
Where I will give you credit there, where it's due. I think, after just kind of like in a second to look at it more, it's like Maria Marevna. It's like on paper, I didn't think she was that great either. Like I'm taking him for paper and I'm thinking not that great. But then think about how Maria Marevna had her effectiveness right, like stripping through the barrier, stripping through the shields. This one removes all shield and barrier with a strong hit.
Yeah.
He's scaling into strong hit. I do see your point. I do see your point. You're going to step back to kind of consider it. Yeah, being able to chew through some of these buffs is pretty big.
I'd love to get this guy just as an absolute monster slayer.
He's the god of war, so it's...
Yeah.
and it fits that name very well, too. I mean, and if you read the name of the abilities, too, and they go higher everyone. Furious Onslaught, to Brutal Cleave, to Carnage Momentum, to Warborn Frenzy. He's just gonna go nuts on somebody, and I love it. I'm an Aries. I was born in April, so for me, like this is I love the way that this is done up. The creativity on using this God of War, I love it. I would love to have him too. I think in the arena, he's gonna be a fun one. Gotta get him awakened for that block revive to like full like, hey, yep, nope, you are done, you are dead, gone, nilled.
So the takeaway here is Bran is biased because of the Aries. I think he's very niche, but is very strong where he is useful. Echo is all about him.
Oh, I can see the potential. I can absolutely see the potential in him. Yeah.
I can see why he's got the crit damage in arenas for the leader bonus. I do feel, yeah, I mean, in PvP, he's gonna be nuts. PvE, he might have a little bit more niche because he's not gonna be as strong because of the fact that he's not in the PvP situation. But at the same time, I can't wait to see the damage he does. And if you build him in a gear set that allows him to ignore the strong or weak hit thing too, that'll play into it some as well. That'll also play. You're getting gear sets that'll help out with that too, and that'll boost him in PvE as well.
I might be biased because I love PvP. I mean, in games like this, I love getting into the whole player versus player aspect, arenas and tournaments, and coming face to face with other people's teams in there. I think it really just gets the blood pumping. I could be biased in that regard. He is definitely an arena champion. Artemis, the Lunar Huntress. She is a cunning slayer. So here we go, another Slayer, ready to bring some damage. Basic. Moonlight Union. Attack an enemy twice. Has a chance to place defense down 2 on the target for 2 turns. If Apollo is on the team, he will join in the attack. And you're probably gonna kill them because they'll have defense down. Lunar Barrage. Core. Attack all enemies. AoE on the core. Triple attack. Increase this hero's divinity by 1% for each enemy hit. That's not a lot of divinity increase. Because what are we doing? 4 enemies, 12. It's 12%. Oh, 12% divinity. Yeah. Because I mean, you can't mess with a hit, right? Whatever it is. I think it's up to 12% divinity increase, which is not bad. Awakening 3, increase the divinity by an additional 5% for each enemy defeated. A little bit of a caveat there. Ultimate costing 1600. Attack 1 enemy on the ultimate. Increase the damage inflicted by 10% for each defeated enemy. Place Banish on all defeated enemies at Awakening 5. And then passive, after defeating an enemy, this hero's next attack will inflict 50% increased damage and a 26% attack bonus in dungeon battles. She also gains bonus divinity when inflicting damage, plus an additional 100 whenever defeating. So she has this whole, if I defeat someone, because I'm strong, I'm a slayer, I'm going to be defeating people, I get these bonuses, so I'm getting extra, defeated enemies, and increase the damage inflicted for each defeated enemy on the ultimate. That's basically the only advantage you get. Oh, and the passive, inflict increased damage because you're defeating them. She seems pretty mediocre compared to our mate, the God of War there, that we were just looking at. I think especially her ultimate just feels like it's the one-shot wonder. I'm saving my ultimate for taking somebody down. They can't be buffed to the gills because I'm not going to break through it. She doesn't have any way to really break through it. But I reckon she's going to smack on that ultimate against that single target. She's a lot more niche than Ares, but she does seem like a lot of slayers. She's going to come in and she's going to do her little nuke against a target.
So I pulled up Apollo just to kind of like the mindset of, okay, they're working together. What really does this benefit? His basic is if Artemis is on the team, she will join in the attack. Cool. Core is if Artemis is on the team, also equalize her divinity. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So we're not really like, it's nothing crazy with the synergy here. And, we fell on Apollo saying, be weak. This isn't helping Artemis. It's not helping Apollo. Don't think this is a good synergy duo here at all.
Yeah, it feels like they either haven't finished her kit or
they
just haven't put enough. They haven't put enough in. You're probably going to defeat some enemies on the basic because of this defense down 2, but
right,
and then come in with the ultimate at some point when you've weakened the enemy and go, I need to get rid of that enemy, and so my ultimate is guaranteed to just take them out. But you're not going to be able to awaken her to place the banish or anything. So
with the dungeon aura, it makes it seem like they're obviously going to be a wave clearing content combo. So I feel like maybe you'll get some of those defeated enemies a little bit more. But if her divinity generator bonus works the way that I'm reading it, just kind of like how earlier where I was like, per hit. Well, if she's hitting 4 enemies 3 times, that's 12 instances of damage times your 40 for inflicting damage to an enemy. That's a lot of divinity gain too. So again, I mean, it depends on how that works with that, because she's going to get that ultimate off constantly, which in that point you get the double hit as well on the first one too. So, I mean, how many times is she going to get that ultimate off before one enemy even dies? Like, almost seems redundant, but it'll be interesting. I don't think that's actually how the Divinity Gainer works. She's not going to get a click of damage every single time. Maybe it'll be like the 3 times as you hit the wave each time. Inflicting damage to an enemy, I mean, if you're hitting 3 times, you get the 1% in Divinity as well for enemy hit. I mean, that's 12 instances of damage. So that's a lot of Divinity gain too. That could be a kind of scaling issue as well.
It's why it's so high though. It's why she requires 1650, because she is going to climb fairly fast, but not as fast as some heroes that have a lower divinity cost for their ultimate and have good divinity climb. Yeah, she's going to roll around to her ultimate fairly quickly, but I don't think it's overpowered. I think they've balanced it quite well.
Next, we're going to move on to Athena. This is one of the legendaries that I have currently on one of my minigame pulls. I did save her. I want to say it was on my main account. I'm looking forward to this one. She is a defender with the Wisdom Affinity. She's an Order Allegiance. And if we scroll down to her basic, start with the Spear of Justice, where you attack one enemy, place defense up 2 on all allies. Sanctuary of Wisdom for the core places a shield on allies and reduces the damage inflicted to allies by 5%. That stack up to 15 total. Well, once you awaken it, you get resistance up 2 on allies for turns as well. Gorgon's Wrath for the ultimate attacks all enemies with an 80% chance to place Petrify on each target for 1 turn. If this hero is under a shield buff, which does on her core, Petrify cannot be resisted or blocked. With Awakening 5, time an ally is attacked under shield, increase the damage of this hero's ultimate by 5%. Medusa's Glare is a passive. Each time this hero is attacked shield, heal for 50% of the damage inflicted to the shield. If the shield is depleted or removed, 50% chance to place Petrify on the enemy for 1. And once you hit Awakening 3, any attack against a shield now has a 100% chance to place Petrify on the enemy for a turn that cannot be resisted. 33% defense arena battles for the leader bonus. I could see this all being a very arena-oriented kit with the Petrify, but I feel like it's also going to be pretty solid on waves as well. I enjoy the names of these kits. It's kind of entertaining. I'm excited to use her. She's going to be mitigation left and right, Petrify to stop them from hitting you. The increasing damage of the ultimate, I can't wait to use her.
Yeah, she's a beast. That shield is awesome. It's the best shield in the game. She's awesome. Godlike.
She's very solid. She is going to be a solid addition to any party, any roster. Just the whole defense up plus shield plus resistance up if you awaken her with just 1 awakening. I say just, but a lot of people are never going to even awaken a lot of their legendaries. So, the awakening bonuses are kind of just that, they're bonuses. And her ultimate, being able to just AoE them and place Petrify, and then you got your Petrify on her passive as well. She's going to be really controlling and just disables constantly where you're petrifying the enemy. She's going to be very annoying to come up against, I have to say. Dang it, I got petrified again. What's going on? Half my party can't go. Stupid Athena.
She's pretty epic. Just imagine her. I visualize even just a cinematic or something where she's in there defending her team, pops in there with that shield, and it's just that gaze, Medusa's Glare.
Yeah.
Boom, the Petrify. She's awesome. Love Athena. She was solid for got to lock her in for the mini quests. Next up, we got Hades. Hades is a cunning disruptor. He's basic. Looking at attack 1 enemy, single target, with a 30% chance to place sleep for 1 turn. Awakening 3 also has an 80% chance to increase the cooldown of the enemy's core ability for 2 turns. They are under curse. Core is an AoE with a 75% chance to place Despair for 1 turn. Also places Lock Ultimate for 1 turn on enemies under Despair. Awakening 1 will not weak hit enemies under Curse. Now the ultimate, attack all enemies in AoE for 2 hits. The first attack will decrease the target's turn meter by 20%. Second attack will place speed down 2 turns. Also places initiative down 2 for 2 turns on enemies under Curse. Passive, at the start of this hero's turn, place Curse 2, and here it is, it's passive, that's good. Start of this hero's turn, Place curse 2 one turn on the enemy with the highest attack. When an enemy under curse is defeated, place curse 2 for one turn on a living enemy with the highest attack. Curse 2 cannot be dispelled or resisted. A max awakening at the end of this hero's turn. Place corrupt, charm, hex 2, or resistance down 2 for one turn on targets under curse 2. All the targets that are under curse 2, one of these debuffs. So that's actually pretty good. Leader bonus is 25 speed in arena battles. There's some serious strength here to this kit. It's heavily reliant on curse, but it does pull through with a passive. Max awakening is pretty nuts, but it's going to be nuts to get there. What do you guys think?
You're going to...
It's not bad. It's not bad. I like it. I like it.
You're going to want to place curse with another hero that places curse, because his passive only ever places curse on one target at a time. It's only going to be the one enemy that is affected by curse, and therefore he's taking advantage against one enemy. You can place sleep, kind of niche, very low percentage. The AoE to place despair, okay, great. Despair's not the best disable. Lock ultimate requires curse, so you probably want that from other sources. AoE, decrease the turn meter, okay, great. Speed down 2 and that. Really, really good, right? So the ultimate is basically his saving grace. It is speed down 2, initiative down 2, and that's only on enemies under curse though. So the initiative down 2 is only going to land on that one target that you've passively placed curse, unless you have another hero there to support him and actually start placing curses left, right, and center. He's very niche in terms of how he works, how his kit works, and where you'll be using him.
The other major thing to note, though, is it needs to be, and again, I'm kind of focused on this Awakening 5 bonus. I don't know why, but it has to be on Curse 2. That's how it's worded, too. Yeah. So it's not just like any hero that has Curse. It needs a hero that can put Curse 2, which is much more difficult.
Yeah.
With it being arena-based, it almost seems like he's just meant to lock down your one person, too. You're the one guy on the other team that's meant to be your damage, So yep. I do think that it is at least synergistic with itself, because it is going to take the highest attack, one person at the start of his turn, and put that curse on there, which then activates the rest of his kit to put the guy to sleep or increase cooldown of the core, locking the ultimate. So you're really just trying to take out the one guy that's going to do damage against you on the other team. So, I mean, I kind of like that. Feel like because he's a legendary, though, it shouldn't be a single target setup. But I think at that point, too, I mean, like, if you build him and you have him in there, someone's going to know, oh, crap, he's coming after my one guy. So
true. He's a threat.
You have two guys that are going to blow up the team. I feel like, though, because it's arena-based, I do like the way it works for that purpose. It'll kind of be your saving grace. You really want to have him some high speed, too. And his base speed to start with is 102. It's not going to be the end of the world to get him up there, because you're going to want him to go as fast as possible to get the other team's Slayer basically locked down. You're going to want him to go pretty quick. So I think that might be his only main downfall in what his kit seems to be aiming for. You got to get enough speed on him so that he can make sure he does what he's intending to do.
Get that passive out, yeah. Hercules, also known as Heracles in the original. Mighty Redeemer. He is a brawler, strength affinity, and many people got to play with this guy in the alpha tests. Look at his base HP. It's almost 24k base HP. He's got a lot of HP there. Basic, Hydra Club. AoE on his basic with a chance to place Acid. Good start. Awakening 3. If the target's under Acid, reduce their attack by 5% up to 25%. Core. Attack an enemy and place stun. One enemy, one stun. If this hero, Hercules, is under Immortal, increase the damage inflicted by 100% and place stun for 2 turns. The thing is, he's going to activate his Immortal, as we well know. Ultimate only costs 500 Divinity. Increase this hero's HP by 5%, stacking up to 60%, and place Barrier on himself. When it max stacks, place Immortal. You have to get it up to 12 times, which means you have to do his ultimate 12 times in one fight or one wave before he places Immortal, which is very, very specific. It would be so hard to run through his ultimate 12 times. Awakening 5, increase this hero's attack by up to 60%. Passive, prevent this hero's death and heal them to 100% of their max HP, places Barrier if he's awakened 1. he's not going to be placing Immortal very often, because you have to run through his ultimate 12 times, which I felt made him pretty lackluster. Plus the fact that he wasn't hitting very hard. Even the AoE on his A1, on his basic, was not super good. But, you know, you're getting out your acid, which, as we know, breaks sets or whatever it's supposed to do, where it prevents set bonuses and does a bit of damage. So the stun is what he was there for, though. So Hercules is all about control with the disable. The stun, you want to be careful because you don't want to go wasting your stun when the enemy team is going to have somebody cleanse off disables. That's really the only caveat here. But he was there for the stun. He will just about never have Immortal on him because, as I said, his ultimate has to run through 12 times to get Immortal. But that revive, basically instant revive, is super annoying.
Yeah, I think he's like he's the best brawler in the game. What I could say, I feel like he's one of the best brawlers in the game.
Why is that?
I mean, I locked his imprint bonus on my account and my daughter's account.
Because he has a double health pool.
Yeah,
he was obnoxious in the alpha because he was broken, like code messed up broken. I mean, he was not dying. To prevent hero death
that was annoying.
would just never go away. There was no internal cooldown on it, so it was like, oh crap. You need to make sure that you had the anti-revive on him, man. Like you could not clear this wave unless you were able to really kill him like 10 times. I'm glad they fixed it.
Yeah, the way to beat him was to have another turn before he took his turn and the passive could reset. So you'd have to basically burn through 2 full health pools in the space of 1 turn. And that was what made it really, really difficult because he had such a high health pool. Because you were up at the high levels, the high stages, and he had a massive health pool, and you'd go, he's up again. How am I supposed to get through this? Yeah, so it was a little bit broken in that regard.
Pretty sure there were a couple waves where there were 2 of them in the same wave too. So you're sitting there like, oh, I got one. No, it was a massive headache. But yeah, I'm glad that they fixed it because that was a bug and a half in the alpha that was a nuisance for a lot of people. We mentioned him earlier. We're going to move on now to Zeus. He's the last one that's in the Olympus realm, and he is Slayer. He's eternal. Fit that all throughout the alpha as well. He was a monster. If you move down to his kits, we will start with his basic of Thunderstrike. You attack one enemy 2 times. Each hit ricochets to a random enemy, inflicting damage and applying defensive down on the target for a turn. His core, Strike Heaven, attacks one enemy and then attacks all other enemies. Same amount of damage. Awakening him once will place Sharpen on himself for 2 turns before attacking. So he's boosting himself before that even hits. Assemble the Council as ultimate with a 1550 cost. Places attack up to on himself, then attack. All allies team up and join the if the target enemy is defeated. Increases his attack and crit damage by 10%, stacking up to 5. Means 50% extra attack and crit damage, and the stat gains carry over waves. Awakening bonus 3 if the initial target was defeated. Also increased divinity of all allies by 20%. King of the Gods passive. When this hero defeating an enemy, next attack of the ally inflicts 30% increased damage. With an Awakening 5 bonus under review. Fine. We're not going to see it for a hot minute anyway. Really matter yet. And he gains divinity bonus when damaging any enemy, 30% attack in all battle for leader bonus. He was an absolute monster in the alpha. He looks like he's still going to be a monster. He is truly King of Olympus. He fits that. I honestly think that he's still going to be nuts for a damage dealer. I think that he is going to carry a lot of people when you get him, especially if you start to get the awakening bonuses. I can't say much else other than I hope to get him I hope early, honestly, in the game. But guess we'll see. I don't think my luck is ever good enough for something like that.
Yeah, this dude's huge. He hits so hard, and that core, it's good enough that he's probably going to kill an enemy on that first hit. But then the spears of lightning just come down and they attack everyone else in the party. It's absolutely massive. Thankfully, they removed the passive built into his basic where he would get another turn every time he killed someone. So that was actually a very welcome nerf because he was just too OP. You could just solo
he just cleared
everything.
waves like no. You could solo floor 150 Yeah, like you could just solo some crazy floor content.
Yeah,
just nuts.
solo everything because he just kept getting an extra turn, and that was just way overpowered. They had this dream for him, but in practice it was just crazy. Now he's just crazy, not crazy. he's still very strong.
Yeah.
This whole ricochet thing seems very interesting because the way I read it is he's doing a double attack against one enemy. One of those attacks is hitting another enemy for basically the same amount, depending on their defense, right? But then he's applying defense down 2. Is it defense down 2 on the one you target, or defense down 2 on the ricochet target? Because it's built into...
I take it as the ricochet target.
That's what I thought. So you're not having control over who gets defense down 2. But either way, he's just going to come back in on his next turn and go, hey, you've got defense down 2. See ya. And
at that point, you're spreading it to new ricochet targets at that point, too. So, I mean, you're going to apply it to the whole team after two basic attacks.
Yeah. Oh man.
The core is just nuts. You get one copy of them. Add that sharpen 2 on top of there, which applies before you attack.
Yeah.
Before you're putting out that boost of damage, it's just nuts. He's still the king of damage.
Just team attacks are just so cool.
Passive King of the Gods is just it boasts. And then if he kills anybody, especially with that core, everybody else is just going to suddenly do more damage too. So it's going to be insane.